So most people think that suffering comes from what we do. This is the usual concept that we know, that suffering is coming from what we do. Bhagwan Krishna says suffering comes from who you think is doing. We are in Karam Sannyas Yoga, chapter 5, Bhagavad Gita, starting from the verse 10. The problem isn't the action, the problem is the identity. Can you work, love, earn money, raise a family, and still remain completely free? In today's session, Bhagwan Krishna is going to give clearest answer to us from Bhagavad Gita. But before that, I also want to address whenever we come to these topics of karma and how we need to get detached from the outcomes, because that is what Bhagwan Krishna teaches us. Don't get attached to the outcomes of the karma that you're doing. Don't do it for the desires, do it for nishkam, free of cost, seva. Then natural questions come is to us is, if I don't have to get attached to the result of my actions, then why should I work at all? What's the point of working? Why build a business? Why do I study? Why do I earn money? Why do I raise children? Why even meditate? If I shouldn't desire the result, then what is the point of doing anything? This is also one of the deepest questions that Bhagavad Gita answers in a very twisted way. We will understand in simple language today. We are going to cover from verse 10. Okay, so from verse 10 we start. One who performs all actions as offering to the Supreme, giving up attachment, remains untouched by the reaction of those actions, just as a lotus leaf remains untouched by water. Beautiful example shared by Bhagwan Krishna in this shlok. He is saying you have to perform all actions as an offering to the Supreme. You are giving to the Supreme. Who is the Supreme? You are the Supreme itself. You just don't know it. You are the higher self, and your higher self has split itself, created an identity called mind and so name, and now addressing your Supreme self. It's a quite jumbled thing, but if you do sadhana on this, if you do meditate on this, you will understand slowly. So he is saying giving up attachments and remain untouched by the reactions of those actions. So whatever karma that I am doing, and I remain untouched by the reactions of those karma, good or bad. It could be anything. It doesn't have to be like if I did good karma, so I'm going to get good results. Which 90% people have problem. Like, I have done good all my life, then why bad things are happening to me? We'll cover this in some other session. I've made reels on this many times. So I think if you want, you can go back and check that. So he's saying give up the attachment, the outcome. Just as a lotus leaf remains untouched by the water. So the lotus leaf is floating on the water but untouched, doesn't get wet. Same is the way we have to live in this world, not untouched. You are living in this world, you're living in the same materialistic universe. Same thing like Bhagwan Krishna lived, like Bhagwan Ram lived, like all other gods lived. Balaji, Srinivas, all these deities who we say as examples lived on this earth, did materialistic things and also lived like free. In previous verses, chapter 3 and chapter 4, Bhagwan Krishna addressed this himself. He answered this doubt before. He addressed it like, Arjun, I am God. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to do any karma. But people look up to me. If I also don't do anything, then everybody will start following me. They will start following me. So I have to live up to expectations. I have to show, I have to create a path where people don't hesitate to do karma. So this is what he answered in chapter 3 and chapter 4. I want you to notice how Bhagwan Krishna never say that, leave your family, quit your job, stop earning money, escape and go to Himalayas, go and sit under a tree. He's not saying that. He's saying continue doing karma. You cannot escape from karma. Karma is something you have to continue doing forever. As long as you live, the body does karma because that is the nature's cycle. Prakriti's nature, Srishti, it works on karma. It's law of universe, law of karma. You cannot escape from it. Even while doing nothing, you are doing something. Even while you are silent, you should have said something. You're going against your dharma. Then also you're making karma. That's why law of karma is such an interesting topic. Not everybody can understand. And so deep it is. The crux that we only need to understand from everything. Bhagwan Krishna never explains like what is law of karma, how in the background, it's been created, how your karma, punya, pap is being counted, what are the logics behind it. He doesn't tell any of this. It's none of your business. It's none of your business. He only says, this moment is in your hand. How you react according to dharma or not according to dharma. Attached to the outcome, not attached to the outcome. Doing as an ego or as a non-doer. That is in your hand. And that is what defines your enlightenment. That's it. You don't have to understand how this Leela works, how this universe works. It's such a complex thing your small brain cannot comprehend. It cannot comprehend. We cannot understand what is infinite. So, he only gave what is important for us. But our mind wants to wander here and there. Here, I think next shloka, which is 11th, the yogis perform actions through body, mind and intellect and senses, giving up attachment solely for the purification of the mind. Mind is something that needs purification. Why? Because if you have a room, imagine, if you have a room and it is filled with dirt, that is your mind. Flooded with positive energy is clean room. But here and there patches of dirt, big chunk of things are there, bottled up emotions, negative thoughts. That is how your cluttered mind looks like. Now in psychology, also in modern science, they also say this: if you have a cluttered mind, your thinking is stopped, you have brain fog, many other things are associated with these things. But it starts from how you are thinking, how pure your mind is. So the yogis, the one who connect with the self, what they do is they perform actions just for the purification of the mind and staying detached. They are doing it for that, but they're also not attached to it. The same thing. We say we work for money, we work for success, we work for recognition, we work for luxury, fame. But Bhagwan Krishna says, this will automatically happen. Fame will chase you. What we do is, problem is, why we are attached to the outcome is because we think having more money, having luxury, having big house, these small things, a good promotion is what is going to give me happiness. That is what it will complete me. But actually, when you achieve something, it's the absence of the thoughts that complete you. Then the happiness is there. That's when you realize, and that is only for a small second, because the moment you achieve something, you go to that blissful state, then next thing comes. So thoughts again start coming. and you think it's because of what you achieved you're getting happiness. Actually, it's just the absence of your thoughts. Finally having clarity. Finally having that peace, that blissful state that you have. Bhagwan Krishna also says the same thing. Don't chase outer things for inner purity. It's a very good example and a very famous story in all the saints of Rabia Sant. I don't know if you know her. She was a Muslim Sant, a Sufi. Rabia, we'll do her story sometime. So she was once got old, a saint. She was once looking, a needle outside her house under the light. So she was standing there and looking for the needle. So everybody started helping her, like, where is the needle? Where did it go? Where did you lose it? Because she was old, they wanted to help her, and she's a saint. So they started helping her. Now she said, oh, the needle I lost in the house, actually. Then everybody was like, then why are you looking at it here? If you lost it in the house, you should check inside. Then she said, inside there's no light, no? So that's why I'm checking here. So everybody said, you are mad. And then she laughed and said, that is what I am saying. You all are mad. When you lost something inside, how come doing things outside will give you happiness? How will you find it outside when you lost it inside? When you forgot who you are, that is when you lost your true identity, true self. Now you are chasing outside things, which is also created by the mind, by the way, so that you stay busy here. Keep chasing things, So you keep looking things outside, thinking, oh, if I look outside, I will find something inside. How is that possible? She was a very beautiful saint. Her journey is extremely amazing and very inspiring. We will cover this someday. She taught how, and she used to teach in a very radical way, mind-opening examples. So we'll cover that journey as well. So point being, even though you do these actions, don't think this is also covered. Your questions should keep coming like this. Then why do karma itself, Because Bhagwan Krishna says, in previous chapter we covered, nothing goes to waste. Nothing you do goes to waste. It's like adding to a bank account. It keeps adding there. So this world is full of contradictory statements. If you don't have a master to guide you, it's very easy to get lost. Very easy to get. It's like a maze. It's like a maze where oh, left, left, right, 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 and then out. But then you go left and then right is there and you just get confused on your own. But if you have someone guiding from the top, they just take you to the right path. So the next shlok, Bhagwan Krishna says, the one established in yoga, having abandoned attachment to the fruits of action, attains lasting peace. Lasting peace, something that you will never lose again. Something that you will never lose again. Once realized, you won't lose it. What we do is, we try to copy the outcomes of famous saint people, spiritual leaders, and think we will achieve that. Skipping their journey and thinking, oh, we will achieve the final state just by copying this. The other day I was telling someone, Buddha walked this earth. Since 5,000 years, so many people are copying what he did, and yet none of them achieved moksha. Why? So many people wearing a red robe around themselves, renunciated their life, doing everything, yet no enlightenment. This is a live example that you cannot copy the outer state and achieve the inner state. It starts from within. And every person, if you all are God, or let me correct myself, as you all are God in your own form, you're all avatar. Avatar Roop, you all are, which means you have your own beauty, own journey, own self-realization. That is why each saint, if you see enlightened, they are not same to the other one. They have their own uniqueness. And this is the beauty of this nature. There are so many permutation and combination. It's endless. That is what makes human beings so interesting. Same soul, same mind, but different conditioning, different style, different background, different thoughts, different language, so many variables. Same God, but different variations. That is the power of its Maya. And when you see it from that eye, you will love every single person. You will love every single person. So when Bhagwan Krishna says, established in yoga, the one who's established in yoga, he sees himself in everyone. There is no other. It starts with one and many. It starts with one and many, comes to one and other, then leaves to only one. Starts with one and many, me and so names, mother, father, this, that, all different names. Then goes to me and the other person I'm observing. Second stage. Third stage remains, only one is left. Neither me, neither you, only that. Only that. And that is a state where all these Tattva Gyani talk from. That's the Tattva Gyan. When only remains is that. Now you call that as God, Brahman, Atma, soul, whatever you want to call it. There are many names because many visions. So this is what it means established in yoga. They abandoned the attachment to the fruits of karma. So when you are doing karma, when you are working in job, office, home, anywhere, you are doing everything with an expectation. If you're cooking something, you want someone to praise you. If not, then you will say, I don't think today I made good food. So someone will say, no, you made good food. Indirectly you will get the praise. This is how we live. This is how we live with expectations. You always want something in return. You are in transaction. That is why you are stuck in this transactional universe. You always want to have transaction. I did something, so I should get something. I do punya karma, so give me blessings. What if you don't get blessings? Then what? What if doing good karmas give you nothing? Then nobody will do good karmas, isn't it? They knew. That's why they created this system. Otherwise, people won't help. Imagine you need to tell people that if you help other person sitting next to you, then you will get blessings. That is why you will help them. As a nature, you won't. As a human being, naturally, you won't help that person. You need to know that I am doing a good karma, so I will get something in return. How selfish are we? Isn't it? When you are upset, in your worst days, you just want someone to hug you, love you, say that I'm there with you. But no one will do that because they're also waiting. What will they get in return? What will they get in return? This is why you are stuck in this universe. This is why you are stuck in this transactional universe, because you don't want to do anything without getting anything in return. Even in spirituality, you want moksha, otherwise you won't touch gyan, otherwise you won't come here. You want peace, you want happiness, that's why you come here, otherwise you won't come here. And then you ask, why am I stuck in this universe? How many births am I going to come? This universe is a transactional universe. Please understand. What you give is what you get back. That's it. As long as you want something back, you will be stuck here. It's that simple. As long as you want something back in return, you will be stuck here. No one can save you. The moment you stop asking, it's over. It's over. Because you want nothing in return now. No praise, no nothing. I'm saying nothing. No, not even happiness, not even sadness, not even bliss. I want nothing. I want nothing from this world. That is called shunyata. That is living with nishkam karma. As long as I'm alive, I will do my duties. I am doing it for the sake of it. Because these are my duties. I am doing it. That's it. I want nothing in return. It's a very deep thing I'm saying today. You are stuck in a transactional universe because you are living in barter system. Your mind wants transaction. That is why you are stuck in this transactional universe. Akansha ji is asking, how about I cook, I taste, I praise myself for the good food I made and don't want others to praise me? Yes, that is good. That is wonderful. If you don't want others to praise you. But when you're cooking and praising yourself also, that's a good upliftment of your mind. You want to uplift yourself and be in positive energy. There will be a time where you don't even need to require that. You will come to that state where you don't even have to praise yourself. Neither praise nor guilt. We are above that. But beautiful segment you have shared. So today I want you all to understand this. Why are we stuck in this world? Because we are transactional people. Even to give love to someone, we want something in return. It's that simple. It's that simple. You see Instagram, people say, oh, Gau Seva is so nice. Please donate money. With Gau Seva, you can kill so many pap. What if no pap was going to kill? Then would you not help? Then would you not help? Someone is dying in front of you. Will you not help? If you imagine if someone is dying in front of you, saving them will give you 100 pap. Will you help or no? Tell me. That is what the doctors, have this oath. They have to help no matter what. Even there's a murderer sitting in front, they have to help. This is what, ask yourself who you are. You say, why do I believe in karma? Why do I stay here? But this is how you are programmed. This is how you want to live. I do good, I want good in return. I do bad, then also I want good in return. So, if you live in a transactional world, barter world, then you will be stuck here forever. Having mentally renounced all actions, the self-controlled person dwells happily in the city of 9 gates, neither acting nor causing actions to be performed. It's beautiful. You all need to understand this gyan. So beautiful and practical. So practical. Having mentally renounced all action. Mentally renounced. Not literally. Please understand. The shlok, if you understand by words, it's beautifully explained. Having mentally renounced all karmas, The self-controlled person dwells happily in the city of 9 gates, which is this body. It's have 9 gates. Actually, Dashadwar, but it's 9 gates. Neither acting nor causing actions to be performed. Then, when you want nothing in return, my dear angels, then even while doing something, you are doing nothing. Even while cooking, even while eating, sleeping, breathing, working, doing things, when you don't want things in return, you just do because it's your duty as the role you're playing in this body. If you want to earn money, you earn money for your family, you go to office, do the best. If you're 8 hours job, give the best of 8 hours you can. Don't cheat. That will come back to you. You think nobody is watching, but everybody is watching. Those 8 hours, unless you're spending it somewhere which is more important, like Nishkam Karam, saving someone, helping someone, for your own selfish reason, if you're not working in the office, it won't give you. You're taking money from there. These all comes as adharms. Now people are doing some big adharms. These are small things, I tell you. The Lord does not create the sense of doership, nor actions, nor the connection between actions and their results. The Lord does not create the sense of doership. What we have is doership. Where you are not, small things in life, if you see example, two people are talking. They are planning, let's say, they're going out for dinner. Let's assume, in your family, two people are going out for dinner. They are discussing where to go, which place. Now you suddenly start giving suggestions. Nobody asked, but you're giving suggestions. Okay? That is sense of doership. You want to get involved. You are not even going. It's none of your business. But you have a habit of going into each and everything. You should be involved. This is called insecurity. I'll tell you, this is deep insecurity where a person feels I'm not valued. Unless I do something, I have no value. Do you understand this? Unless I do something or act, my value is not created. This is a form of insecurity. And insecurity is a very low emotion, low vibration. Please, if you have any insecurity, loneliness, sadness, depression, or fear of missing out, all these things that you have, job insecurity, only your attraction aura will go down. Nobody gets attracted to an insecure person. A confident, strong person, even if rich or poor, it doesn't matter. If confident, everybody is attracted to him or her. Why? Because of the vibration. Frequency is higher. But also leads to ego. So we have to be careful. Yeah? So sense of doership is something like this. Nor actions. So Lord does not create sense of doership. That I'm not the doer. It was someone else's karma and coming through me. Nor he create any actions. Nor he create any karmas. Nor the connection between karmas and results. So there is a saying like this, he is not creating any actions, which means currently whatever I'm doing, there's no connection between outcome and results. Everything for the sake of it. Everything I'm donating, which is also part of this thing. There's a very beautiful saying of Vitthal Bhagwan. I don't know if you know this. Bolava Vitthal, Pahava Vitthal, Karava Vitthal, Jeev Bhav, which means speaking also him, pehne mein bhi wohi, wearing also him, all action donated to him. Everything I give is for Vitthal, means the God. Surrender to everything to him. So whatever I do, I give to God, which means nothing comes to me. So if bad result also come, it will never come to me. The Supreme neither accepts anyone's sin nor virtue. True knowledge is covered by ignorance, and because of this, beings become deluded. The Supreme, which is the Self, the Atman, that neither accepts sins or virtue. It's above that. Good karma, bad karma, it's above that. And the true knowledge sometimes get covered in ignorance. And ignorance comes from attachment to yourself, first to this body, to this mind, then to the karma, then to the reactions. That's how we get stuck here. Today, when you go in your whole day, just spend 5 minutes at the end of the day and see, have I done any karma where I don't want anything in return? In that moment, maybe you will say yes, but go deep. Please be honest with yourself. No one can help you unless you are honest with yourself. You have to be extreme honest. Go deep inside yourself and ask, have I done anything like this?